Okay guys, it is August. It's the end of August. I believe it is, it is August 30th, 2014. Today I'm going to show you how to do an HID conversion kit for high and low with new headlights. First of all, as always, with the 9599 2G Eclipse, Mitsubishi Eclipse and Eagle Talon, you have to remove the bumper. You'll have 10 mils here. You'll have to remove part of the fender cover. There's a clip here, here, and here. And once you get that out of the way just a bit, there'll be 2 bolts behind, about somewhere in here on each side. And then also you'll have a couple clips holding your air dam to the back of your bumper. There may be some other clips. If I do find them, I will note them. So let's get started. Okay guys, another thing I want to note is that there's 2 hidden clips for the 2G bumper for the Eagle Talons. I don't know if this is for all the 2Gs or not. There's also going to be 4 clips, one here and here, same on the other side. And to remove your headlights, there's 1 bolt here, there's 2 hidden bolts here and here, which are going to be these holes here. I'll show you from the other side. See down, this hole is just going to be where my finger is. There's going to be one above and one below. And then there's another hidden bolt, which is right here. Get the camera focused in the light here. The way I got the headlights out, because I needed to get these clips, is I took a wobbly, 10mm, 1/4 inch drive wobbly on, I want to say a 2-foot extension, and pressed down the bumper gently and slid it over and got it on the bolt, and then turned the bolt out, took it out, and the headlights come out. Do know before you take the lights out, you have to disconnect your turn marker bulb from here, and also you have to unplug your headlight, which the plug is right here. You can reach it from the fender well or underneath. So now the bumper should just come right off. And there we go. Front end of a 2G. And there's the bumper. Next, I'm going to be working with the wiring, the HID kit. I got the halo wiring kit for it, so I don't have to do much. And the HID kits, one's for your highs and one's for your lows. These are 6000K bulbs. The way I'm going to do mine is that this kit, when it came, looked like this. You got your plug to the factory harness, or to, I'm sorry, the baluster, the red plug. It is polarity sensitive. So this plug plugs into here, and then these 2 plug into red to red, black to black on these 2, and then they want you to connect your headlight or your main harness from the factory harness to these 2. One's positive, one's going to be negative. You'll have to use a D-bomb to find these with your headlights on, but I don't see any sense in doing it with rerouting in and out, so I'm going to simplify mine and just find the factory harness, splice into it, and then I'm just going to connect power into it, into these 2 wires, and then all I have to do is then cut these 2 wires out and then force the bulb wires, if I can take this grommet off, cut and splice these wires through that grommet, and it'll be a lot cleaner installation. I will solder and heat shrink these. I will show you how I do this as I do one, and then I'll do the rest of them. So for now, let's get to work on simplifying the wiring. Move the bumper out of the way. Always move your bumper or any body panels you don't want to have scratched or broken out of your way. Out of sight, out of mind. And then, now, it is very helpful to have a wiring schematic. I've got this one off of AllData. Tells you your wire colors, the pin out. So I'm going to start with the low beams. And I also have the repair manual. It's not the best, but it works. On this 2G, the pins aren't the same as the connector type, which is that type. You can see it here. It's not the same as that. So what I'm going to have to end up doing, like I said, is cut and splice. So I'm just going to put the key in the ignition, turn the car on, turn the headlights on to low, and then we're going to find power and ground. Okay, keys on, headlight switch is on to low beam. Okay, take your D1. We're going to set it to volts DC. Take your black lead, put it in the negative battery post. Negative battery post, just like so. Here. And then touch positive. It should have 12 volts. So we have 12 volts, so I know my lead meter's good. And then I'm going to take my D-bomb. That's ground, power, power. So I have two powers and one ground. So there's one power, there's another, and here's ground. So, judging by these wires, the thick one's probably my high, the small one's my low. And wiring diagram. So So here's the schematic. 1 of 2 and 2 of 2. This one's all the switch, this one's the lights. Here's your left front here. Here's your right front. So our low beam is going, here's your high beam relay. Control is done from the switch in the column, your on off. And then, so pins 3 at the headlight is not the one that we want, so we want our red white, and we don't want red light blue. So we want red, this red wire. Pull this insulation back. It's going to be, yep, red white. Because red light blue is our highs. So we're going to go for that one. Okay guys, it's been about an hour. I have the low beam working, and also I have the high beam work. Here it comes on. So the way this wiring is going to work on this is, here's your connector. The center red light blue is common power for both. The black one, which is the far right pin here, is actually going to be your ground for your low beams. And then the far left red, solid red wire, is going to be your ground when you switch from low to high beams on, and then it'll activate your high beam. And then both will be on when you have your highs on, and when your lows, when just low, you can just turn it off, as I have my assistant over here helping me, as she's flashing me. Get it? Flashing, flash, flash. So, flash to pass, and that's how that works. So now that I have the wiring, I'm going to find a suitable location for my left side. Yes, this is the left side. And then I'll do the same for my right side, which I have a good decent amount. I can possibly just hook both of them up right up in here, or I can just somehow figure out a way to hang them. So that's how these are going to work. And we'll get to the soldering here as soon as I get set up. Okay, I have the headlights here with the bulbs in them. I will do note that on the high beam one, you have to modify slightly the hole with a file to get the bulb to fit correctly. It's a little bit of a setback, but it's alright. So now I'm going to show you how to solder. As you can see, I've cut my pigtails from the lights, and I've ran them through the original grommet so I don't have to make any holes. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use solder, just normal solder with rosin core for cleaning, and then I'm just going to strip these wires and then twist them together with heat shrink on it and solder them together. Okay. So as you can see, I have my foam down so I don't scratch the lens when I do this. All I'm going to do is I'm going to strip about 1/4 of an inch off of each. And these are fairly small wires. with insulation. This is very high voltage. You don't want to do this with it on the car all plugged in together. I do not suggest that. That's a good way to kill yourself. These are very high intensity discharge bulbs, which is HID, high intensity discharge. Uses a lot of voltage. If you get shocked from it, it can and will hurt you and or possibly cause major death. Another thing I also want to point out, just like any headlight bulb, do not touch the glass surface, otherwise you will ruin and or damage it, causing it to possibly burn out faster than it should, or basically just go out. So as you can see, as I'm stripping these wires here, I'm trying to strip them so I can get enough to... So, same thing with the polarity. Polarity is a must on these. Get the polarity wrong and you will screw it up. You will burn bulbs out. You will also possibly take out your ballisters, which is something you don't want to do. So I'm just going to do now is I'm going to take my heat shrink and I'm just going to slide it over. I'm just going to twist these wires together, make an X with like so, and then take your pointer and thumb and twist. And you should get a very good connection like that. It should be no wider than the wire itself when they're twisted together. And then I'm going to take my soldering iron gun. Heats up very fast so I don't have to wait for it. And while that's heating up real quick, I'm going to do the same thing to the positive wire. I'm going to try to do this in one go for one light. Okay, that one's a little bit too long on the heat shrink. No problem. That one didn't work too well. Okay, there we go. Gun's just about warmed up. Get your length of solder about 6 inches long. You'll touch the tip to help transfer heat. Don't get too much on there. I'm just cleaning it off. Just put some on, throw it, put a little bit more on, and then touch the surface to heat the wires. Add a little solder, let it burn in, add a little more, and take off. And you should be good to go, as long as I don't pull it off before the solder sets. Damn it. That's a little toasty. So now I got a problem. So I pulled them way too early. So we're going to try this again. Okay, so the solder did set this time. Just going to make a quick change to it. Maybe you'd help me. Hold it right there. Get my assistant here. We'll try not to burn her. Nope. Oh, fuck me. and not working how I want it. Where do I have my tool for this? There's a clamp tool I can use to do this with. So just support it. That's all I need you to do. So move this thing here. And then once it's soldered, it should be somewhat shiny and clean with no debris or anything in it. And all I'm going to do is slide my heat shrink over it and take a normal cigarette lighter and just shrink the tubing. That's why it's called heat shrink. It's basically like electrical tape. It just shrinks to the proper size and seals really nicely. So I'm going to do the positive side now. Once again, I'm going to apply a little bit to help the heat transfer, and then I'm going to apply a little bit more so it burns itself in. I'm going to let it sit until it cools. And then I'm just going to, like I said, take my heat shrink, slide it over. And then your connections are new again. And I'm going to do the same thing for the rest of the three. And after that, I'll show you how to set up your halos, which are these two lights. Red's power, black is ground. Okay, so here's some of the wiring I've done already. Here's the relay for the halo. Your yellow wire is going to be your positive from battery post, positive. Your white wire is going to be vehicle ground, as you can see, and put it to chassis ground, and then black halo wire with it to chassis ground. Your blue wire here is going to be power output from battery when the relay is energized to your halo lights, and then of course we'd have to run another wire to the other side. And then your black wire, off it normally ground, but sometimes they specify differently, is to signal source. As you can see, I've spliced it into my side marker bulb, and with the headlights energized, or park lights, this is just one side though, I haven't done the other side yet, the halo ring comes on with it. As you can see, all the other lights still work. And that's the majority of the wire. Next up will be the passenger side. As you can see, I still have to work with this side, but with all the wiring, I did cut the old wiring off of the headlight side from the main loom, from the factory side, and I just made a dummy plug so no debris or corrosion starts to build in. And I've just spliced the wires in back here for the high-low Xeon HIDs. So, and here's plug, so if I ever need to service just the transformer I can, and if I need to service the bulbs I can. So that's just simplified from what it originally was. So in a little while I'll have the other one done. Alright guys, I did finish finally wiring in the right front headlight. I ran a wire through a pre-existing loom I had ran before for the halo. I'm having a bit of a tough time thinking right now. I've been not this all day, and so I've mounted my baluster. So here's the wires. The wires you're looking for on this particular 98 model, I'm not saying that these are the exact colors for all of them. Black is going to be your ground for your low beam out of the main connector. the factory wiring harness in the vehicle. The red and light blue color is going to be common power for your highs and low, and then the ground for your highs is going to be the red, solid red wire. And I've pretty much soldered those in. If I need to, like I said before, service any of the components, I can do so with ease. Just remove the splash guard and the fender well, and I can get right to it. So right now, all I got to do left is put the bumper back on and also clean up, my mess. So once I have the finished product, I will show them again to you with them on from the front. Do know that you do have independent adjusters for your highs and low beams. I can see in here. Okay, so the adjuster screw there at the bottom, on the right side of the screen, that is the adjuster for the low. There'll be two or three of them, and then you'll have the same thing over here, as you can see down there. There's the other. So I'll have to get it all back together, then I'll have to aim them. I'll show you how to aim these once it's all back together. Okay guys, it is finally nighttime. Everything's put back together in the front bumper. So I have the headlights on here, as you can see. About 20 feet from the wall. All I'm going to do is, if I want to adjust just one side, just take a towel, something to cover the headlight with, and the light goes out. What I'm looking for on this is I'm looking for a hot spot. This is my hot spot here. This section here, that's what I want. At 20 feet, 25, it should be 2 inches lower than the height of the headlight. And should be just about directly in front. So on these, I need an 8mm wrench, like so. On a ratchet. Turning it counterclockwise will bring it up, and turning it clockwise will bring it down. So it looks like, if I cover the other light, I'm about the same height, but I'll show you how this works anyways. Watch the hot spot. See, as I rotate it, about a turn, it'll raise it up as it's going up on the board, that ceiling board. So if I turn it the other way, it'll come back down. Clockwise is down, counterclockwise is up. So you can see it move just slightly and slowly. Turn this one down just a bit. And there we have it. There's your headlights. The left front should be a little bit lower than the right front, so you don't blind traffic as you're traveling down the road. And that is how you aim headlights for these. And I'll show you once again the adjusters on these so you can see for yourself the ones I was adjusting. Take my trusty light. So that one down there, you can't quite see it very well. Change my light there. That little bolt where my hotspot and my light is on, that's the one I was turning to go up and down. and the one on this side is going to be your left and right. And then you'll do the same for your highs, but this one has 3. So you have 3 axes on your highs. But my highs are actually, as they come on, they take a couple seconds. They're actually pretty bright. I don't think I need to change them. The real way to see if you need to adjust your highs is driving down a dark road, no lights, like a highway, and see if you need to do anything to them. Like put them up higher, put them down lower. Other than that, here it is. All back together, front bumper's back on. All the wires been double checked. There you go. Hopefully the next video I do will be the exhaust manifolds for the engine. Till then, see you next time.